Hello there. It is claimed that the UK fishing industry could be decimated by a no-deal Brexit outcome from the trade negotiations. Firstly, please subscribe and like this video to give my channel a boost, and I'm always uploading new content, so please do check back daily. So the claim is that a no-deal Brexit would hurt the fishing industry because Brussels could impose tariffs on any UK fish imported into the EU. Talking to The Express, Professor Alex de Ruyter of Birmingham University and Director of the Centre of Brexit Studies said that a no-deal Brexit was the most likely outcome now and said, "Both sides remain entrenched in their views, with the UK government sticking to its guns on fishing and not wanting to abide by EU regulatory thresholds. I don't think the UK has any real leverage on fisheries. About 70% of the UK's catch is exported to other EU countries, so failure to give ground here could result in heavy tariffs being applied to UK fish exports to the EU. So unless the UK public discover a vastly increased appetite for salmon and langoustines, the sector could be decimated by a no-deal fallout." Now, according to seafish.org, around 70 to 80% of the seafood consumed in the UK comes from overseas. And as an example from some figures I managed to find for 2017, in that year we imported 700,764 tonnes of seafood and exported 446,458 tonnes. Now, the mix of fish will be complex, and some fish like cod and plaice are more favoured in the UK when it comes to imports and exports. I get that. I'm also not sure if these figures include imported fish that have been processed and then exported and vice versa. And this next one is a big point. Some of the fish we import from EU countries may well have been caught in UK waters, landed in another EU member state and exported back into the UK. But it seems that our biggest import source of fish is Iceland, followed by the Faroe Islands. And I would hazard a guess that might have included a lot of cod. But once we get back full control of our own waters, maybe in future, once stocks recover, we can start reducing on the 114,588 tonnes of cod we imported in 2017, as opposed to the 16,080 tonnes we exported. But it does show that we aren't in the position of having to throw fish away because we can't sell it, if as an island nation, we're having to import fish. But now comes the interesting bit. We cannot manufacture new fish. They breed and we catch them. If we overfish now, there's less for tomorrow. And apart from a few species like salmon, it's not like we can rear them like sheep or cows, is it? And even salmon farming is restricted in scope. GlobalSalmonInitiative.org says that Atlantic salmon farming has traditionally been dominated by a small number of farming regions, Chile, Norway, Canada and Scotland, as several natural conditions often have to be present to ensure optimal salmon farming production. So it's almost like a fixed seafood supply, but only if you go no further than optimising the opportunity. Any further and fish stocks collapse. Now, when we leave the Brexit implementation period, the EU loses a part of its constant supply fish factory. But the tariffs and quotas the EU has around the world with other countries are set, factoring in that the UK waters are a part of the EU. But when EU trawlers no longer have access to UK waters, Brussels will lose a huge tract of fishing grounds and will surely have to revise those quotas and tariffs so that EU citizens who want fish can still get them at a reasonable price. and I'm not sure those EU citizens will be happy when they're told they can't eat fish because Brussels has to try and punish the UK. And the EU cannot set special tariffs for the UK without an agreement with the UK. They have to set their own WTO most favoured nation tariffs the same for all other countries, including the UK. So imposing no-deal tariffs on the UK means imposing the same tariffs on all the other countries they do not have a deal with. Now, according to the European Commission website, there are two sorts of bilateral fisheries agreements the EU has with countries outside the European Union. And they are Sustainable Fisheries Partnership Agreements, SFPAs. The EU gives financial and technical support in exchange for fishing rights, generally with southern partner countries. Northern agreements, joint management of shared stocks with Norway, Iceland and the Faroe Islands. And at the moment it seems the EU is trying to foist the second type, a northern-style agreement on the UK with some sort of joint management system, but where they presumably call the final shots. The EU does actually pay some other countries under Sustainable Fisheries Partnership Agreements, but the EU vessels fishing there have to obey that country's rules. And for an example, Brussels has one of these arrangements with the Republic of Cape Verde to the west of Africa. So why not that type of arrangement with the UK? The UK chief Brexit negotiator David Frost has made the UK position quite clear and said, "The EU continues to insist on fisheries arrangements and access to UK fishing waters in a way that is incompatible with our future status as an independent coastal state. We are fully committed to agreeing fishing provisions in line with the political declaration, but we cannot agree arrangements that are manifestly unbalanced and against the interests of the UK fishing industry." The UK doesn't want joint management. We want to manage our own resources. Anyway, back to this idea that UK fishing fleets will be decimated by a no-deal Brexit. It's obvious that the EU citizenry likes eating fish caught in what will soon become exclusively UK waters. And if they can't buy those fish because their own EU Commission has priced it above their means via import tariffs, then given fish can't be magicked up, where will the EU citizenry get their fish? According to the EU Commission, EU vessels already catch a lot of fish outside of EU waters, so you have to wonder how much scope they have to increase that. More than 20% of Union vessels' catches are actually taken outside Union waters. 9.3% of EU catches from 2014 to 2018 are made in the EEZ of third countries engaged with the EU in fishing agreements. 2.2% in other third countries, while another 10% are taken in the high seas, mainly tropical tunas in regions managed by tuna regional fisheries management organisations. So, without UK fish, seafood could become a bit of a luxury food in the European Union and be priced accordingly. And at that point, even with tariffs applied, UK fish could become an attractive option. Who knows? Now, according to the National Health Service, a healthy, balanced diet should include at least 2 portions of fish a week, including 1 of oily fish. That's because fish and shellfish are good sources of many vitamins and minerals. Oily fish, such as salmon and sardines, is also particularly high in long-chain omega-3 fatty acids, which can help to keep your heart healthy. Most of us should have more fish in our diet, including more oily fish. Fish is good for the heart, good for the joints and good for the brain. It is a health food, a superfood. I mean, cats can't be wrong, can they? And who doesn't like a large portion of fish and chips? That means to me that there's an untapped market within the UK for eating fish. So I'm not sure if one exists, but maybe we need a temporary boost for the UK fishing sector in the form of some sort of fisheries body to push the benefits and culinary delights of the seafood available off of our very own coastline, and improve our health in the process. Something like a 5 to 10 year government funded industry body maybe. We've done this in the past with both milk and eggs, remember. As Wiki says on the Milk Marketing Board, slogans included, full of natural goodness, is your man getting enough? Milk's got a lotta bottle, written by the advertising executive Rod Allen, and drink a pint of milk a day, designed by the advertising agency Ogilvy. And how about the Egg Marketing Board one of, go to work on an egg, and the ad with the famous, how do you want your egg, fried or boiled? And happiness is egg-shaped. I'm sure there's someone out there who can do equally well with words like cod, fish, haddock and crab to bombard the airwaves with. And a whole YouTube channel devoted to fish-based recipes, of course. But don't look at me for that one. I burn water when I make coffee. The question is, though, would such a body just become yet another quango? Anyway, I digress. At the end of the day, I don't go along with the idea that our fishing industry will be decimated by a no-deal Brexit. And by the way, decimated does mean losing 1 in every 10, not a complete collapse. I think our fisheries sector will thrive and grow once we've got through the first few years and we've built up export links with other countries. Anyway, if you want to hear more from me, please don't forget to subscribe and also press that little bell, or you won't get any notifications. And if you want to see more of me, buy a mug with my mug on it. So, do you think our fisheries are threatened by a no-deal Brexit result? Please share and comment, and thank you for watching.